Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do the unboxing for April. This is our monthly subscription to the Bass Elite and from Mystery Tackle Box. So today we're going to do that unboxing, but first what I want to do is remind you guys, go check out some of the new apparel at ARO Outdoors apparel.com. Put the address right down here, and it'll also be in the video description wherever it is. Now let's get right into this one. I've already had a little bit of a look into it, so I don't know, I always get kind of curious. I don't like to look at the email because you can, when they tell you that it's on the way, they actually send you an email and give you a chance to get a sneak preview of what you're getting. I don't like to do that, but when the box does come, I do like to get a little sneak preview before giving you guys a the unboxing. First one we're going to jump into, it's right on the top. It's by Z-Man. It's a Cross-Eye Z Chatterbait. This one is the color, interesting. It's called Chili Dog. That's kind of a cool color. It's like a green pumpkin red. This is in a 3/8 ounce. I like bladed jigs. The past couple of years, I've really been messing around with the bladed jigs quite a bit, and they've actually become. Before that, I never really had one rigged. I had some in the box, but I never had one rigged constantly. Now I have a bladed jig rigged constantly in my rod locker all the times. And usually I have it sitting on the deck now too, after the past couple of years. But bladed jigs are really good. They're really versatile. You can throw them in a bunch of different conditions. You can, depending on the weight of them, you can let them sink, even the lighter ones. You can let them sink and just slow roll them. They are gonna rise a little bit because they're lighter, but as long as you slow roll them, and depending on the speed of how you reel it, sometimes if you slow roll it, the blade won't do what it needs to do, or maybe it will. I don't know, it all depends. Every bladed jig is different, but I found some of the better bladed jigs out there have been like for that blade to react has been either the Z-Man or the Picasso bladed jigs, and I use a lot of the Picassos. It's just kind of what I've been used to, and just what I have in my box. Nothing against Z-Man chatterbaits. They work pretty good. I've used them in the past and haven't had any issues with them. But this one, I mean, these baits, you can throw them in and around a lot of different cover. Throw them, around docks, and sometimes I'll throw these over boulders and around weed edges. Just kind of like a slow roll. I mean, sometimes it seems like slower the better. Depending on, you want to go slower, but you want to keep that blade to have that action. And when you lose that action, because you feel the vibration, then you won't. And then if you don't feel the vibration, just start reeling a little bit more, and then you'll get that vibration back, and then that's where you want to be. Now, if you want to go slower, maybe drop down a weight, and then you can reel a little bit slower. But that's a good bait to put in the box. Nice solid right out of the gate. And we'll just grab another bait here too, right out of the top. Another Z-Man. This is the Sling Blade Power Finesse spinner bait. So this is 3/8 ounce, and what color is this one? Oh, blue herring. So it's your finesse style swim bait. It'd be really good for highly pressured waters, rivers, using smaller spinner baits in rivers has worked for me in the past. And then these finesse style spinner baits are actually really good for smallmouth too. I've used them for smallmouth. Smallmouths will still bite a big spinner bait too. So don't ever count out the big ones. But these finesse spinner baits, they do get a ton of bites. We've talked about spinner baits a lot in the past. These things are very versatile. They, in and out of weeds, sparse weed cover. You can throw them in heavy weed cover. Just be aware. If you do hang up, you can lose fish, and a very high probability you are going to lose fish because the wires are not that strong to be handling through heavy cover. So I like to throw them in around sparse cover, weed edges, docks, and stuff like that, boulders, and I tend to get some pretty good bites too. Sometimes I'll throw them deeper and off ledges, but you need a heavier weight for that. So that's another good bait there by Z-Man. The next one on the list here, not on the list, out of the box, is by Team Arc, and it's their square bill crankbait called the CT3-5. So dives 3 to 5 feet, and that's a pretty cool little color there. I haven't used their square bills, but this looks like a pretty I kind of like the shine, but it looks like a pretty good little square bill that's going to get you a lot of bites, big bites, small bites. I'm not sure, like I said, I haven't really used this one before, but this one, I mean, it looks like it's going to do what it needs to do. Square bills, like a couple of the videos I've talked about them in, I like to throw them in the rocks, round weed, sparse weed cover, not heavy weed cover. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw them just over on the top of submerged weeds, so weeds under the water, and I'll just run it into just the tops of those. Sometimes the bass are hanging down about a foot or two below the tops of the weeds, because that's actually an edge for them. It's an ambush point, and they will come up and shoot up and just crush bait that are swimming over top of there. And if you just rip it and just knock into those weeds just a little bit, then they can, that can create a reaction bite and can force them to come up and want to crush it. So another good bait in the box. Next one, we got the Googan baits. This is the 2.5 inch Doob tube. I mean, as you guys have always could tell if you watch my previous videos, you see my bait wall. I've caught a lot of Googan baits in the wall. I use them a lot. I haven't used these tubes before, so I don't know. I don't have a lot of details on how they're going to work, but it's, to me, what it seems like is that they're a finesse style tube, because it's a smaller tube, so you can use it for, like, say, crappies. Might be a little bit too big for bluegills, but crappies I can see would probably eat this, but definitely smallmouth and walleye that are eating on some of that smaller bait. And throw them in your typical spots that you would for a tube. Like I throw it around rocks, weeds, docks, and all that good stuff. And a bunch of different ways you can rig it. But you can start out with just a standard tube jig. It's just, you just insert the jig head into the tube, and pop the eyelet out through the nose of the bait, and you're good to go. Tie that on your rod of choice. Something like this, probably a lighter rod, because you're throwing a lighter jig and a lighter lure, so you don't want a heavy rod with heavy line. You want a lighter rod, probably a spinning setup with 8 to 10 pound braided line to 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon leader, or just 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon all the way through, depending on however you fish. Everybody's different, but these tubes, they always look good, so I'm curious to try them out. I'm not a real big fan of the smelt color, although I know it's got its place. But for a tube, I typically want to throw a green pumpkin or a black and blue or something like that. So, but we'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. All right, next we got something I haven't seen before, which is the beauty of these mystery tackle boxes that sometimes they send you stuff that you haven't seen before. And it's Euro Tackle Finesse. They got no writing on the back, so I got to turn this back around here. Well, it's here. They call it the Metacraw, and it's the S Pheromone Scented. So it's got some scent in it. Okay, here we go. 2.4 inch, so they're smaller. So this is definitely a finesse style bait, and you're gonna want to throw it on like maybe a net head or a drop shot. And I mean, you could throw it on like a jig trailer too, like maybe a finesse weedless jig. That would probably work pretty good on there too. That'd be a pretty good compact. You just trim down the skirt. It's in the black and blue color. I love black and blue. Sometimes a lot of finesse stuff though. If I do like to go to, like say, a green pumpkin or green pumpkin purple, or something like maybe like a PB&J has been working really well for me this past couple of years. So pretty good little finesse bait here. Give that a shot. All right, we got another square bill here. This one's by Lunker Hunt. It's the Jolt 8F. This thing is, I say square bill. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the bill, not technically a square bill. I take that back, I'm sorry. This is more of like your deep, flat-sided crankbait here. It's got a tight wobble, and where's the, oh yeah, here we go. 8 foot, the dive is 8 feet. So that's gonna, I mean, that's pretty good crankbait. You know, it's gonna dive down there, and you know, if this color I would throw in a little bit more dingier water, something where the water clarity isn't as great, because then the fish are gonna see this bait from a little further away. But crankbaits are always pretty good. I like to throw them around like rock areas, tapering points, and sometimes around weed edges, like deep weed edges, and get these right alongside, go parallel with them, and then I can get some bites that way too. So another good little crankbait there from Lunker Hunt. And those flat-sided crankbaits, they got that tight wobble. A lot of times that's really good when the fish are just shying away from, like, maybe good for like cold water, but when the fish aren't really as active is what I found with those. But you can get bites on them throughout the summer too. I mean, I have. Next, we got a jig from Talons, black and blue. It's cast stalker jig, 3/8 ounce. You know, we just did a video on swim jigs. Here's one. You know, you get a swim jig and you miss your tackle box, and I just did a quick and dirty bait talk video on one of these, or on swim jigs themselves, like my go-to and all that good stuff there. A lot of good information. Jigs we've talked about before, super versatile. You can throw them just about anywhere. You're just going to want to be careful of what kind of line you're using per what cover you're throwing in. So you don't want to throw a 20-pound braided line when you're throwing in thick, heavy cover. Thick, heavy cover, I would say minimum 40 to 50-pound braid. I like to throw about 50-pound, because then I know I've got all that strength. I've never broke 50-pound braid, and I've really pulled up the bottom on some with 50-pound braid. Not on purpose, but you know, it happens. And I feel like if you have anything less, you're going to lose that jig. So be aware of what line you're throwing per the cover you're throwing it in. But jigs are super versatile. Docks, rocks, weeds, sparse weeds, thick cover, wood. I mean, wherever you want to do it. I mean, these things, you pick your poison. They're good. And then pick your color as opposed to the water clarity. Honestly, for me, jigs, I don't find myself getting too crazy. It's either, sometimes if I'm swimming the jig, it's going to be a white chartreuse, or if I'm just dragging it, it's going to be either one of 3 colors. Actually, I've got more than 3 colors in the box, but one of 3 colors. It's going to be either green pumpkin, black and blue, or June bug, pretty much. So honestly, those are the only 3 colors I've really been catching a lot of fish on lately. I mean, not that the other colors won't work, but I just haven't needed to use the other colors. So jig, very versatile. Another good one in the box. And then we got another Guggen Baits here. This is their 5-inch dart. This is the watermelon red flake, right? Yeah, watermelon red. There's 10 of these in the pack, so I know there's a lot of controversy of the baits not lasting, but you do get 10 in a pack, and I mean, I've used these a lot too, and they do last. I mean, they're not the most durable, but I've been able to catch multiple fish off of one bait, so and that's not bad. And the reason why I like the plastics is because I like the scent, the salt, and I like the action. And if you stiffen these baits up and make them more durable, you lose that action. And I like the action, so I'm willing to buy a couple more baits just to make sure I get a couple more bites. Anyways, these things are very versatile too. You can throw them just about anywhere really. What I like to throw these on is weightless. I'll throw them weightless. I can throw them, you can throw them in and out of like sparse weed cover. You can throw these on a drop shot, throw them on a jig head, and do that strolling technique that that's so popular now. I mean, it's super versatile. And some guys will even throw these on like spinner baits for like trailers, just to add a little bit on there and add that little tail, or bladed jig trailers. The only thing is with some of these fluke style baits is the bodies are so thin, and there's this cavity here for the hook, you know, for the belly, and sometimes it doesn't leave you very much meat in the bait to run that hook through. So sometimes, depending on the fluke, the bait, it doesn't work that well. Some will, some won't. But guys have used them for trailers, for spinner baits and blade jigs. But these baits are pretty versatile too. I like them. I have been using them. I probably don't use them as much as I probably should. But we do have one rigged up. I actually just did a quick nerdy bait talk video, what was it, a week or two ago on these, couple weeks maybe. And I've got one rigged up right now on the deck as weightless. But it's their 7-inch one. I'm going big for the spring. I'm the 7-inch weightless, and I'm going to try and entice some big girls with that one. So these baits, pretty good. The next thing, of course, you know, I almost forgot because they're hiding. You got Harmony hooks. Let's see if I can get them down a little bit more here. You got some Harmony hooks right here. Looks like they're just like a drop shot style hook, and I don't know. I haven't used Harmony hooks, but I've had them out of the package, and I mean the hook point is pretty sharp, and you know it looks like they're going to do the trick. So we got those. Got a decal, Mystery Tackle Box bass decal. Looks like a smallmouth bass. And then of course you got your dibble. So that's actually a pretty solid box. I am pretty happy with that box. We got a lot of good stuff in there, actually. A lot of good stuff to cover a lot of different areas of the water column and a lot of different times of the year. Even though they're, you know, depending on where you're at, they're going to try and give you the baits for your area that are going to be more significant for your area. But great box, and you know, this was the April edition of the Bass Elite unboxing, my monthly subscription that I get every month. And these things are awesome, guys. I'm not sponsored by Mr. Tackle Box or Shop Carls or nothing. I just really enjoy their Mr. Tackle Boxes and the deals that they have, and you know the baits that they sell there too. So I mean, check them out. If it's not your thing, then you know that's okay. You know you don't, you know, whatever, no big deal. But check them out if you like this kind of stuff. And you know, guys, that's going to do it for today's unboxing video. If you stuck around, thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget, check out the AROOutdoorsapparel.com website for some new apparel, some hats, shirts, hoodies. And catch you guys next video.